But I want to bring this up, although I might be the only one, besides the people in the chat, only one on this panel who really knows, because he goes, we got to finish the game when I come to Tennessee. We got to finish the first game.
Yes.
But One Toys has created a Kratos from God of War Ragnarok, and they've made some updates to the figure. You have the Draupnir spear now. You have some updates to the head sculpt. There are some changes here, right? So you can see here, the face is thinned out a little bit. The paint apps look slightly improved. The beard looks a little bit better. It looks a little less full because the face is a little bit more narrow. The older one was a little bit too wide. Kratos' face didn't quite match kind of what it looked like in the game. Paint apps better, still a little soft in the photos, but not the end of the world. You get this updated screaming head sculpt too that's a little bit improved, a little bit better paint apps, and again, more narrow. They're showing the original body. The Mondo one had a ton of joints all over the place. So this one obviously has a little bit of an improvement. And yeah, I want to ask you guys what your general thoughts are on this. Kiko, what do you think just in general? Do these third-party companies deserve more respect? Because they're updating figures before they even release a lot of times, at least in a few cases that we can count. Hot Toys does that from time to time, and they're really good about communicating that, but it's not a frequent thing. So what do you think, Kiko? Do these companies deserve more respect for doing stuff like this?
Boy, that's all I can. Whenever I see this, I just say, boy. Atreus.
Yeah,
that's all I can think of.
Yeah, that's just boy.
But this almost got me, because when I started playing God of War, because you got me on that, by the way. Like, I've almost considered saying, I think I need a Kratos in my collection. I need to figure this out. I'm really digging, this character. But I think because when you are smaller and you have less demand, you can do these things because you're not having to put out a zillion pieces for high distribution and high market value, things like that. I still think that, and I'm not even the biggest God of War honk by any means, but I think a lot of people are still complaining that the size of the axe is not right. I think it still looks kind of small. But I think you can undeniably say this is a really cool figure with a great update. I think slimming the down and elongating the face is exactly what you want to see here. And yeah, respect where it's due. And if they continue to deliver, then it allows you a precedent to where people can say, oh, this company delivered on this figure. They listened to feedback. They changed and made some updates to where it is better upon release. I'm willing to put a pre-order down on their next figure because the last one was so much better after they took our feedback. So you're just building a reputation and building, a track record for yourself as a company. So I'm all for that. And I'm still hesitant, to pay in full by any means for any of these, but I would consider putting down a deposit and see how it turns out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this looks pretty cool, man. Especially with the cloak right like that. I love that cloak because you can kind of, cover that shoulder joint a little bit. And I think that to me is very, very appealing. And that was one of the things that maybe I didn't communicate as well in my Shang-Chi review. Posing the figure itself, not as difficult, but as far as posing the figure and making it look realistic, because you got to deal with the pecs, you got to deal with the visible arm joints, the wrist joints, finding a way to sort of conceal all that in a way that looks realistic. That's where I'm talking about the difficulties in posing him. So that said, Riley, what do you think? I know you love God of War more than anyone. You're the biggest fan on this panel. So we got to get Riley to play God of War. But what do you think, Riley, about third-party companies updating their sculpts and stuff like this? What do you think about that?
Dude, I think it's great, honestly. Well, honestly, beforehand, when InArt was starting to jump into the mix, when Hot Toys were just releasing so many announcements, at that point, I was just honestly like, dude, at this point, third party is just it's gonna be a no for me. I can't really pick up that because there's just so many options now. But like people have said, third party, they're not backing down from the competition because they're showing newer stuff. They're upgrading things. That said, there are other companies where it's the same thing where it doesn't turn out as great. But particularly with this company, with Mars Toys, I mean, we talked about that last week. I think that Joker stole the show for the week because that Joker looks amazing. That 66 Joker. I think that third parties do deserve more respect in the sense. I was more so lenient with them. I'm very selective with third parties and unlicensed figures, but more of my recent figures have been unlicensed and third parties. That Riddler I got because I don't think Hot Toys are going to do a Riddler. So I was just like, I need to have a Riddler on the shelf for my Batman. So that's why I picked him up and he turned out great. So I think some collectors should keep an eye out for certain third-party companies. Others, not as much because, they'll have the same occasional where it won't turn out even from pre-order to final as great. But companies like these, they're showing that they want to have that competition. So I'm excited about it. And this God of War, he does look really good. I know one of my friends is a huge fan of God of War. I probably have to show him this because it got updated and it looks pretty cool. I'm with you, Will. That shoulder joint was kind of throwing me off a bit, but adding that cloak, I think, does help a lot. I was like, when I saw that, I was like, that doesn't really appeal to me because it doesn't look as like realistic, but having that cloak on does help a lot. So I'm excited about people getting this in hand because obviously this character is super important to collectors. I mean, if InArt or anyone else would make a Kratos, that'd be pretty insane. But this third party will suffice for sure.
Yeah, because that shoulder joint is the maybe one glaring eyesore here, because the other one obviously you can cover with the shoulder pauldron. Exactly. But as far as the rest of it,
pretty split. But
it still looks like a pretty good figure. I'm not crazy about this figure as much as I love Kratos. I kind of want to see a little bit more maybe in hand in the final release before I decide picking this up, because I have the Prime 1 with Balder and I absolutely love them, and I would love a 1/6 Kratos, but I feel like it's got to meet the standards of what I have in my mind. And I think this is still pretty good with the updates.
Scaled properly? Have they given us
I think so. Kratos does look a little small. Like his arm looks a little small.
Yeah. I was gonna say it looks a little skinny, but
he looks a little skinny. But other than that, yeah. Other than that, I think it overall is a pretty nice figure. The tailoring and the outfit looks pretty great. And I'm with you guys about the axe. The Leviathan axe probably a little too small. I think that's still a little undersized. But other than that, I think this is a good release. And for people that are really hungry for a Kratos 1/6, I think this could fill that void. But I don't think it's perfect yet. I think it could still use some work. And that said, maybe One Toys can fix that because they've made some updates already. Maybe they'll continue to make improvements. So yeah, but they deserve some respect, no doubt about it.